I object to your point of view. Our, our society is currently wait, in, in a state of development, and gender-based housing is also a part of development, and the result of the struggle of the middle class cannot be arrested because of the part of the low-income population. The middle class play a pivotal role in the progress of, of society. Our government should think about how to make society better and help low-income people how to adapt to progress, not the result of preventing so-called progress, which not only hurt the middle class masses, but also goes against the current direction of social development. We understand that our opponents may say social society is progressing, but social but so I mean, social progress will not be reflected among all people. How can low income residents bear the consequences together? But our society is constantly making progress. That why its argument is still important, because the most important thing to consider in how to better adapt to the current pace of social progress and improve ourselves. Yes, thank you.
의미가 맞죠. 한번 더 하시지 않을까요? 맞아요. 지금 책임은 그냥 마지막부터 없어지는 거. 아 그래? 잠깐만 조금 정리하고. 아 네.
I'm Deputy Prime Minister, and now I will tell you about my part. At first, first I'll, I'll protect our pace. They said the development is important, but the problem is, but we need to think about the person, the victims of the development. Someone, if the places, if the gentrification happens, the many people who poor will be sacrificed. And that is the first thing I want to say. And second thing, I'll tell you about this third argument about tea. The key point of the third argument is high inflation. The gentrification process, which is mainly discussed in Korea, the area is activated by the introduction of the distinctive workshop, cafes, and restaurants in slum commercial district. In search of relatively low rent, and then the social media promotion attracts a lot of people and revitalize the business district. In this process, landlords, due to the higher sales, raise the rent fee and price increase, and the high inflation happens. In the process, only the large franchise company that can afford a higher price remains there. And indigenously, tenants who first revitalize the commercial district will be evicted back to the outside, and uncharacteristic streets will become slum again. For example, Xinjiang, which enjoyed the heyday of the culture and economy until 1990s, began to lose its vitality after 2000, when it began to change into a large franchise-oriented entertainment district, along with the various problems. At this time, artists who are pushed back by Xinjiang's high rent moved to the Hongdae, and the current Hongdae commercial district was formed. And thanks to the revivals of club culture, the Hongdae commercial district rapidly developed. However, in the process of expanding the Hongdae commercial district, gentrification occurred again, and the tenants who cannot afford a high rent fee were pushed back when they introduced to the newly Maunggu and some kind of place where rents were relatively low, and from forming a various business district. The problem I want to say is that the district building that actually save and revitalize the commercial district will evict again outside because of the high inflation they cannot afford. And if this process happens again, there is no economic incentive in gentrification.
Government regulation and intervention require an examination of the informal market. If we only consider the idea of low-income people and ignore the desire of the middle class for gentrify the whole thing, this will only undermine the free market, thereby reducing efficiency and breaking the balance. It is not only harm to the middle class, as low-income people may not benefit from it. It is also a loss to the real estate industry to a certain extent. We understand that our opponent may say only by protecting the interests of low-income people can we have more productivity. But if the government interferes too much in the market, there will be many potential negative problems. That's why his argument is still important, because the most important things to consider is improve the life of low-income people, rather than interfering with the lives of the middle class through government policies. Thank you.
Let me summarize this debate we argued. First, we need to protect those who need to be socially protected. Secondly, to preserve cultural diversity. And lastly, prevent inflation. On the opposing side argued the development of culture and better society progress. In these arguments, I found two key clashes, which is economic effect and society's progression. Onto the first clash is economic effect. Our opponent said that gentrification brings economic growth, but that is wrong in long term. Gentrification does bring economic growth in short term, but it triggers poverty and large wealth gap. Visually and statistically, it shows economic growth, but it doesn't make healthy economic scale. We said that we can protect second-class citizens because when gentrification happens, rental fee increases, so poor have to get out of the place. As we mentioned earlier, gentrification occurred on Garosukil in Shinsadong, and many unique cafes and stores disappeared. But the rent fee only increased and the number of the tourists decreased, making it virtually impossible to further develop economically. Also, gentrification often results in the loss of affordable housing options, making it difficult for low-income individuals and families to find suitable accommodations. This contributes to homelessness and housing insecurity, exacerbating social inequality. And lastly, as we said in our argument, gentrification causes inflation and exerts destabilizing influence on the economy. For this reason, I think we have won this clash. On to the second clash about social progress. Our opponent said gentrification brings social progress, but that is actually wrong in some terms. Gentrification, of course, seeks economic development and sophistication, but it is characterized by generalization and infringement of diversity. In addition, gentrification progresses, there is a gap between the rich and the poor, and the poor becomes more poorer. As I said earlier, I questioned the other person's claim that society develops. In this respect, I think that the gap between the rich and the poor should be narrowed and the country should be good for many people to live in. We said that preventing gentrification lets the socially disabled live better and preserving cultural diversity in comparison. In comparison, I think that what we are arguing is more closer to socially progress country. For this reason, I think we have won this clash. In conclusion, given the clashes which are economic effect and social progress, we have more sophisticated and logical idea. After all, I think we win this debate.
promote the development of the countries in agriculture and the building protection of equitable housing will affect the country's economy. And the slower movie, we understand that the overall and may affect housing will the local population but can also bring value to the country. But this is not a long-term plan. The country's economics higher expectation, more stability, and the middle class can better adjust to the counter situation country. That where is agreement is still in protection because we that most important thing to prostation is the result of effort. Everyone, the international economic development secretary. Thank you.
We asserted three arguments about affirmation of prevention of gentrification, protection of the weak, maintaining diversity, and high inflation. We focused on the victims of gentrification. Although gentrification could bring positive effects like economic growth, lose is more than gain. Positive effects of gentrification, like economic growth, are not indispensable for our society. On the other hand, negative effects of gentrification are destructive for our society. The weak are being expelled from our lifelong residence. Is it really reasonable to invade the right to live of the weak in the name of economic growth? Remind yourself that the right to live is the most basic human right and a right that no one can violate. Also, gentrification could bring adverse effect on economic growth. Unlike foreign countries with an active regional economy, South Korea has an economy centered on large corporations and big cities. Under these circumstances, gentrification has uncertain variables. Due to changes in trend, development in other regions, and high prices, what was originally a busy street often falls behind over time. An example of that is Garuskil. Garuskil was an area that originally grew due to gentrification, but the influx of large corporations resulted in land fee increase of 500% to 1000%. After the pandemic, the number of foreign tourists who accounted for 60% of sales has decreased and economic activity were decreased with high rent fee. After all, Garuskil has walked the path of downfall. Since the miracle of the Han River, we have been fanatically trusting development and progress. But it is time to look at the other side of the development. So we think we should actively prevent gentrification. In conclusion, given the practices which are protection of the weak, maintaining diversity, and high inflation, we think we win this debate. Thank you for this.
고맙습니다.
끝났으면 이거죠? 중지하면 되거든요.